It was just after midnight in Hollow Creek when Kai Black vanished. The last known trace of him was a flicker of movement on a grainy security camera, a shadow near the deserted bus stop. But that shadow wasn't supposed to be there. This is the chilling story of case number 12. The disappearance of Kai Black. Kai finished his late shift at the local tech firm at exactly 11:47 p.m. Like most nights, he began the short walk home. His route was a narrow, dimly lit stretch of road between the old lumber mill and the winding creek road. It was a path that was rarely used by anyone, especially after dark, and it's on this isolated path that the official timeline of Kai's last moments completely fractures. His colleagues reported him leaving in good spirits, headphones in, probably listening to a podcast. He was just another person heading home after a long day, but he never made it. What happened in those few hundred yards has become the darkest secret in Hollow Creek's history. The police initially assumed he'd simply decided to leave town, but the evidence left behind tells a much more sinister story. At 11:59 p.m., a passing security camera from a nearby warehouse caught him waiting alone at the bus stop. He seems calm, checking his phone under the flickering orange light. Then, one frame later, a second figure steps into view. It's a tall, slender shadow that seems to emerge from the fog itself. The police department analyzed the footage and officially claimed it was nothing more than a trick of the light, a lens flare, or some kind of digital distortion. But distortion doesn't have a defined shape. Distortion doesn't move with intention, and distortion definitely doesn't move toward its victim. When you slow the footage down, you can see the shadow's form is distinct, its movements deliberate, stalking closer to Kai just moments before the camera cuts out. In the chaos of the initial investigation, a crucial piece of testimony was overlooked. A witness, a woman named Clara N., who lived in a small house overlooking the road, reported hearing two distinct voices just after midnight. She told investigators she heard one voice that sounded young and pleading, and another that was unnaturally calm, almost monotone. Her statement was officially filed, then buried under a mountain of paperwork and dismissed as unreliable. But what's even more disturbing is what she heard next, just before an unnerving silence fell over the creek. She described a sharp, distinct sound, like a heavy piece of metal being scraped against stone. It was a sound that didn't belong in the quiet night, a sound she said made her blood run cold. 3 agonizing days later, as search parties combed the area, a park ranger made a strange discovery. Lodged in the thick mud near the creek bend, about a mile from the bus stop, was a small, metallic object. It was a silver pendant, tarnished and caked in dirt, engraved with an unfamiliar, intricate symbol. Forensics processed it immediately, but the results were baffling. No fingerprints, no DNA. It was as if it had been wiped clean or had never been touched by human hands at all. Rumors began to circulate among the older residents of Hollow Creek. They said that strange symbol was identical to one that had been carved into the door of an old abandoned house on the outskirts of Towner Place. Kids dared each other to go near, a place associated with local ghost stories for generations. Weeks turned into months, and the official investigation went cold. Kai Black was never seen again, and his case was moved to the unsolved file. But the story doesn't end there. Late one night, another bus passenger waiting at that same stop reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure standing in the exact same spot where Kai was last seen. Same hour, same unnerving stance. They said it just stood there, motionless, before dissolving back into the fog. Kai Black may be gone, but it seems something still waits in the darkness of Hollow Creek. Thank you for joining us on this investigation. If you find these untold stories as compelling as we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Shadow Evidence TV for more deep dives into cases where horror meets the case file. Stay safe and stay vigilant.